Hello, my name is Adrienne Gibson of Karen Astrology, and I am an evolutionary astrologer. I'm from Southeast United States. It's where I live now, originally from Massachusetts. And through my Karen Astrology, I publish a new moon and full moon report and on Substack, and I'll give that information to that at the end of my presentation. And let's begin. So I'm here to present to you this presentation, Fracturing the Hidden Psychology of Separation. It's about the Uranus-Pluto conjunction that happened in Virgo in the mid-1960s and how it shaped the collective and myself throughout my life. I'm going to talk about my story first. So I was born in 1961, a little bit before this conjunction. I have my Uranus and Leo at the end of Leo. Um, I was born to a young Black family in Massachusetts. My father was a chemical engineer, my mother a concert pianist, and my family's history is found in slavery, where I am a descendant of a relatively famous abolitionist named Harriet Jacobs, who freed herself from slavery before the Civil War. And so um, my healing journey begins with studying Jeffrey Wolf Green and um, writing my moon report. I came across this was a little more than a year ago. I was noticing that the trine between Uranus and Pluto was happening, and through studying with some friends, he had said that if you wanted to understand any aspect, that you would go back to the beginning when those two planets made a conjunction. And so I did that. And when I did that, it was like, phew, this shocking moment because the date that I came to was in 1966 and I was 5 years old. And at the age of 5, my grandfather came to visit us and he took me aside and he told me that because I was a Black girl, that I would have to work harder and be smarter to be able to survive in this world. And I just remember as a little girl thinking, well, that's just not fair. And so here I am at the age of 5, the young innocent. I think even before that, I didn't even know I was Black. And this was the my abduction from innocence into this journey of self-hatred and separation and feeling different from everybody else. And I became very shy and afraid to show who I was because I thought I wouldn't be accepted, and a journey of self perfection as a way to prove to myself and to others that I am an equal human being. And this is just to give you a little glance at my chart. Pluto's conjunct the North Node. You can see that Uranus is just before, it's in the eighth house, so I went on a deep journey to get here. Um, I have this Mars in the sixth house in Cancer, so a lot of self-perfection. I have the huge stellium down in Pisces and another one in Capricorn. And I just want to point out the Capricorn one because this will come up a little bit in the future of this presentation. So I'm going to start off by talking about Virgo. So Virgo is mutable Earth. It's ruled by Mercury. It is about the transition between self and other. It's part of the Virgo Pisces continuum, and it's about self-improvement. It has to do with humbling the self so that we can better interact with others. It's about being a part of the whole or a part of the collective. And in order to interact with the collective, we have to humble ourselves. It's also about working toward perfection, becoming better. Virgo is linked with doing service, um, helping other people, and it's about the way that we digest information. Um, I wanted to pull up, this is a natural chart. I wanted to pull this up to point out Virgo's orientation between Leo and Libra, Leo being the top of development of the self, and Libra being where we begin to relate with the social world. Virgo sits right in between, so this is that natural need to humble the self because the self is very strong in Leo, so that we can interact with others in a balanced way. Also, the opposition to Pisces, where Pisces represents the whole or the completion of anything. Virgo is the details and the parts of the whole. It's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the logical mind. It's how we take in information from our surroundings. And in Virgo, the Mercury uses the Virgo aspect to digest that information and to sort fact from fiction, to add to what is already known, and to have a way of discerning our reality. Sorry, I'm gonna click ahead for a second. Sorry. Um, it is taking the energy of thought, which is an air sign, Gemini, and it is really transmuting it into action, to earth, to a reality through a step-by-step course of action. Uranus. Uranus is the energy of fracturing, of individuation, of revolution. It is the long-term memory field. This long-term memory field can go through lifetimes, and it is the higher octave of Mercury, and it can be associated with a trauma signature. Uranus was discovered in 1781, just after the American Revolution and the French Revolution. It was discovered through the very technology that assigned its astrological meaning, which is progress and technology. It was discovered through the use of a telescope. Up until then, we could only see Saturn with the naked eye. And then all the other planets past Saturn required technology to be discovered. It's related to the innovations that followed the French and American Revolution, and it is also related to the discovery of electricity that fueled the Industrial Revolution. Uranus in Virgo is about fracturing the way that we discern reality. Next, I want to talk about Pluto. In evolutionary astrology, Pluto represents the soul. It's an outer planet, so it represents the collective of the soul of the collective, which is humanity, and also of the individual. Pluto is the energy of metamorphosis, transmutation, moving from one form, ending one form, and beginning a new form. It is about empowerment. It is about merging. It is also about subconscious emotional attachments where the soul attaches to something and stays there, generally out of fear. And it is related to loss, abandonment, and betrayal. And it's associated with the energy of holding on out of fear of loss. Pluto was discovered in 1930, and it is associated with exposing what is hidden. It's associated with psychology, genetics, quantum physics, metaphysics, and transmutation. Pluto in Virgo is about exposing the hidden psychology of how we discern reality and transmuting it. The attachment to seeing reality in a particular way is in looking at reality through the lens of separation. So in Virgo, as I was talking about earlier, being the opposite of Pisces, where it's the whole, the completion, then Virgo is the parts. And if we start to perceive our reality through the lens of separation, this can lead to the feelings of lack. We aren't good enough. When we feel lack, we feel imperfect. And feeling imperfect leads to either self-improvement or a period of hopelessness. This is the shadow side of Virgo, this feeling of lack, shame, guilt, um, really can lead to anger, um, wanting to hide, um, feeling like you just want to dissociate, being at the opposite of Pluto. So very often there can be drug use or drinking or any of these things to try to separate our emotional feelings from feeling different and feeling like we don't fit in. So the effects of separation on the collective are when we separate things out to all of the detail, what happens is we see things in a hierarchy. Some things are better than other things. And this leads to inequality. And particularly when we start to project this onto people, this hierarchy of people, we have some people that, make more money or are seen as better or smarter or whatever the thing is, whatever the separation is. And it leads to this inequality, and people feel left out and unable to participate. It also leads to the misuse of resources, particularly because the hierarchy says those that are deemed the most important have better access to the resources than other people. So this is the beginning. The conjunction of Pluto and Uranus happened in the sign of Virgo. There were three conjunctions. The first one that I looked at back when it gave me my aha moment was the one in 1966, probably June. But then I learned that there were more conjunctions. So they made a conjunction three times, one in October of 1965, again in April of 66, and then the final conjunction was in June of 1966. And this is the chart for 1965. I want to note that the conjunction is at 17 degrees Virgo, and this will be important toward the end of my presentation. So we'll note that I talked about that. Um, it's actually linked to the eclipse that we just experienced. Um, Here in opposition, we have Saturn and Chiron. Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. Saturn is currently in Pisces as well, and retrograde. And in this chart, Pisces is squaring the nodes. And this is the south node is in Sagittarius, north node being in Gemini. And this is about a restructuring of the ideal, where we have a collective truth versus the perspective of the people, of the individuals. South node is the resolution node, and if you notice that Mars is conjunct the south node here, that there was action associated with this time period. Warring, this was in October of 65 was when the United States government stepped up the Vietnam War. And the youth came in to protest this. And this was also the beginning of the hippie movement, which sought to really portray the Piscean archetype of oneness and one love and peace, inclusion. And this next photograph that I want to show really exemplifies that chart, because we see the status quo with their guns and the youth coming in and putting flowers into the end of the guns to show that there's another way. And this is the shifting of the belief from the collective to the individual perspective. This is the 4466 chart. Pluto and Uranus are retrograde in this chart. They've gone back to 16 degrees. We see that Saturn and Mercury are conjunct at 22 degrees, pretty exactly. And they are also in Pisces. And Saturn, Mercury, and Chiron conjunction is about accelerating beyond a thought process that is linked with the external authority. And in this chart, we have Venus squaring the nodes. And Venus is about squaring the nodes, it's about breaking free from the values of the status quo and confronting and transforming values. We see the nodes are in the second house, eighth house, Taurus, Scorpio. We're confronting the values of the status quo. And so during this time in history in the United States, we were well into the civil rights movement. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 had already been passed. In 65, the Watts riots happened. And at this time in 66, we were really in the throes of the civil rights movement for people of color. This is Dr. Martin Luther King. He was considered the father of the civil rights movement. In my first look through the history, he was actually killed on this day, but 2 years in the future, in 1968. I thought that it was on this day, so I put him in, and then I decided I'd leave it in because he did exemplify this civil rights movement. This is the final chart of the conjunction. We see the conjunction is still at 16 degrees, but it is now moving forward again. Still Chiron and Saturn are conjunct. Chiron is accelerated. Saturn is at the anaretic degree of Pisces where it sits now, and we will come back and talk about that. Um, it's about sort of dissociating, moving away from, dissolving our attachment to the external control, the rules of society, and how they have caused such disruption in the social realm. We see that Jupiter and the Sun are conjunct, and Jupiter is in Cancer, where it is currently. And like I say, we will look at that a little bit later, but it's about a return to internal security and expanding our inner truth. We don't have a square to the nodes here, but I did note that both Mars and Venus were in the seventh house and in Gemini, where we are working on the perspective of the people, and we're shifting to the values of the people, new values. And during this time, we'll just move to the picture that I've collected. This is the people taking to the streets. This is called the Walk Against Fear. And it began in June of 1966, June 5th, I believe, where 15,000 people hit the streets in this walk. Many races are involved, but this walk was from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson, Mississippi. There were snipers along the way that were shooting at people, but this is part of the civil rights movement. So it is accentuated. Um, Also, I wanted to add that the National Organization for Women was started during this time. Um, and really, it started, now was really it began in this time, but then it really moved into the history a little bit more in the 70s, but it did begin during this conjunction. So now I want to talk about the square. And the square happened in March of 2015. Here you can see that Pluto is squaring the nodal axis in Libra and Aries, with the north node being the resolution node. So Saturn is retrograde in Sagittarius, and we are accelerating beyond a restructuring of truth and focusing of external truth and focusing on individual truth. And we have Mars, Uranus, and Venus in Aries and the South Node. And this was about radical action. And so this square became exact in 2015, but we were really moving into it and getting close earlier, and a lot of things were happening in the collective. These are the women that began Black Lives Matter. It actually started in 2013, but by 2015 it was very well into the public realm. And this was about the injustices of people of color. And so it's kind of the accentuation and the future movement of the civil rights movement. it evolved. I feel like it became a little bit more widespread, but I don't really remember about the civil rights movement being so young in the 60s. Also, during this time, Occupy Wall Street was happening, and this was about the people taking to the streets to protest about economic inequality. And this is the Me Too movement, which people also took to the streets and began exposing things that were hidden about sexual abuse in this world that we're living in, and really stepping up and speaking about women's rights and right to be heard and seen. Uranus trine Pluto. So this is the aspect that brought me to this place. And this is the chart of the full moon and eclipse of the other day. And I first want to talk about um, the fact that all three outer planets are at 1 degree of the signs that they're in. They've all moved into new signs in this year. And while Uranus and Neptune will retrograde back into their previous planets, Pluto will not. I think it's really significant, and really this is why I really chose to work on this project at this time. Um, Uranus in Aquarius is about breaking free from the external control and really stepping into our individuality. And the opposition polarity point of Pluto is Leo, is stepping into our authenticity, each of us. Because I think that each of us as individuals represents the collective, and we're not never going to make changes from the outside. We have to make the change from the inside. And so the universe is helping us to get there. Uranus in Aries is about, Neptune in Aries is about dissolving what it means to be ourselves and really stepping into a higher meaning of who we can be, who we can become. And this is also an accelerated journey. We're really moving quickly into these new roles and these new places. Uranus in Gemini is about fracturing the perceptions of reality. And things are changing pretty rapidly for us. So this eclipse was about completing a energy of dissociation, of being non-interactive. And the opposing energy is Virgo. The sun is in Virgo. We have Mercury and the South Node closing into the sun. And I find this to be significant because the perspective that we've carried that is that we're all separate, that we are all living in these separate bodies, and that this is the energy that's changing. We're really a one people, and it's about coming together. So it's about letting go, dissolving this energy of separateness. Um, I feel like it's through separateness that we war with each other and have, yeah, all the problems that we're having with the way that we relate to each other. South Node in Virgo is also closing to the sun, and we are letting go of this energy of seeing ourselves as separate, seeing ourselves. and then moving into the energy of seeing ourselves as one, this new reality that we'll be stepping into, um, is that yes, we are individuals. Yes, we are different, but we're all parts of a whole. Um, Couple things. Where's Mars? Okay, so Mars is in Libra, and this is about acting to achieve balance between self and other. And also, Venus is about valuing our authenticity. And I think that those were really important to bring out. Saturn is retrograde. It's moved back into Pisces. Neptune will follow before too long. It's conjunct the northern node. And it's about becoming our own authority and completing our attachments to external controls. To me, I look at it as stepping into a place of wholeness, oneness with people. Jupiter in Cancer, and I did mention this earlier, we'll get back to it. Jupiter in Cancer is about expanding the truth of who we are and being secure from within instead of this external security that our culture has led us to. Um, Chiron has moved from Pisces to Aries. And in Aries, it's about healing our ability to take action. This, I jumped ahead, sorry. Um, so this one is, can't really see it. Let me just move that. This is the final conjunction. No, this is the first one. I'm sorry. I'm gone. I'm coming back to this one because what is happening here is that we have stepped into a place where we have to see each other um, as we're all part of this whole, and we are moving into a place where we're seeing ourselves as separate has brought in this energy of where we're warring with each other and we can do such harm. I'm going to move on to the next chart. The next planet, I want to talk about the planetary nodes of Pluto. Um, the south node of Pluto is in Capricorn, and in Capricorn, it's about this external control. The north node of Pluto is in Cancer, and it's about a sense of internal control. And the significance of the South Node in Capricorn, like I said, is external control. The significance is internal control and security. The planetary nodes of Uranus are in Sagittarius. The north south node is in Sagittarius, and the north node is in Gemini. In the south node, we're talking about a collective truth, and in the north node, we're moving toward an individual perspective. And the significance is that the past identity was unified with a collective truth. And the North Node is that our future identity will have a very personal perspective. So I'm going to talk about my journey from innocence to competence. So, in my life, I have spent a lot of time living communally, um, and um, working on community, um, trying to come together with people to live on the earth in a different way. And I was educated as a nurse, and also my I have I live on community. I um, believe in self-sufficiency and health, and so I tend to lead a healthy lifestyle. I grow organic food. I'm living in, like I said, in community with other people, trying to find balance between self and other. And I've been a yoga practitioner and a yoga teacher for many years. Um, Part of my healing journey. Um, and I've been an organic farmer and a forager. And um, my spirituality has been strengthened through the study of astrology. What I've learned, what I've learned is that this idea of not being perfect is not true. We're all perfectly perfect in who we are and what we're here to do. My abduction from innocence um, led me through this journey of self-hatred and separation, and to self-protect, to self-perfect. Um, I became a yoga teacher. I eat a healthy diet. I have learned that everything is connected. Everyone is important. Everybody has a different journey, but we're all headed toward this energy of being able to live together here in oneness, and that we're all equal as human beings. Um, and that the separation from each other leads to death, war, and destruction. So I'm going back, sorry. Um, I got a little bit lost, I'm sorry. Um, back to here. So in my life, I became a yoga practitioner and a teacher, and an organic farmer and a forager. And my spirituality has been strengthened by astrology. And like I said, what I've learned through my abduction story is that um, everything is connected, that everyone and everything is important, and that the separation of each other leads to fear, death, war, and destruction. But that as we can come together, fracturing this and coming together as oneness, um, is the future where we can change the way that we are learning how to relate to each other, and that we are actually part of this whole human community. And I love this picture because this really shows how in the future and in the now that really all of us are these individuals, and that we can all come together um, and experience each other and as a being, as a people on the earth and being together. And that is the end of my presentation. I want to thank you all for coming. This is my website, and also I have a Substack account, and I produce new moon and full moon reports uh, on my Substack account, which, if you're interested in uh, reading what I have to say, please do. And that is the end of my presentation.
That was awesome, Adrienne. Let
Yes,
me
thank you.
Thank you.
let me ask everybody to unmute and see if anybody has any questions. Please speak up, or any comments.
It was great, Adrienne. Love to see it.
Thank you. I got a little lost at the end.
Yeah.
That's okay.
As do we all.
Ending.
Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
This is Denise here. Just wanted to say that you did awesome, Auntie, and I really enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you, Em.
Yeah, I love the correlations with all the things that were happening, back in the 60s, and the connection with the Saturn being in the anaretic degree where it is now. So we're kind of back revisiting
Yes.
those lessons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was noticing some correlations. All of those charts all had like around 4 degrees of Sagittarius
Yes.
as important uh, placements, as well as the Pisces
Yeah.
and Virgo. Yeah.
I've found for myself, particularly this energy of separation that I felt and always never feeling good enough. And really this ability to step into the astrology and to see why my chart is the way that it is, and how I can, embrace those things that I thought about myself as being true and understand that they're not true, and that I can step into a place of empowerment, and then help other people to do the same. Hopefully, my Pluto North Node conjunction in the 8th.
Mhm.
And you have done that.
Thank you, Sheila. I feel like I missed stuff, but it's okay.
Well, you can always come back and do a part 2. We would
Thank
love
you.
that.
I would love it. This
Yeah,
was
and I put in the comments, but I wanted to say it out loud too, that I really appreciated how you showed, the conjunction and the movements, the civil rights movement, the women's liberation movement, the hippie movement, all of those, and then how they progressed into the square.
Right.
Like civil rights became the Black Lives Matter, and the women's lib movement turned into Me Too, and more than just that, but how those evolved, and then moving into where we are now. And I think you and I were talking about this the other day, is even when we don't see it or feel it in the now, is like, have we really changed? Have we really evolved as a collective? And I think you really did a good job of bringing that out and showing how, we have improved, we have evolved, we have, moved along the continuum.
Yeah.
You definitely showed how you have evolved too.
Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully more to come.
Yeah, absolutely more to come. And to your point, Robin, about the 4 degrees Sagittarius, that's where all of these planets are going to line up at 4 degrees. So, we'll have Pluto, Uranus, even Jupiter in Leo.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be an interesting next few years for sure.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think so.
it is.
I definitely think so.
My nodes are 4 degrees of Gemini. So
Are they?
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why you noticed it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting times. Things are going to change pretty rapidly, I think.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think we talked a little bit about this too the other day, is that, Uranus is actually going to cross its own north node in by
Yes.
2032. So what we're moving into is really, it's exciting as much as it is looking for a challenge.
Yeah.
What degree does it do that at?
I believe 14.
14.
Yeah, almost halfway through.
Wow. That's an
Yeah.
important degree too.
Yeah, it is really.
Well,
Very interesting times.
yeah. Do you have anything else to wrap up with or?
I just feel like I must have missed some things. I'm not really sure.
Well,
Well,
like we said, when you can go back over it and find things that you missed and more things that you want to say, you're welcome to come back.
yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and do this. This has been something that's been on my mind, and where, I got all that Virgo in my chart, haven't felt good enough. So I just have to push beyond that and step into it.
Uh,
We hear you,
Virgo,
sister.
Sun, and Jupiter here.
Stepping into the future.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you,
thank you
Adrienne.
so much. And thank you for all my friends that came to support me during this. I really appreciate it.